No problem, sir.
Okay, so good evening and welcome, Peter. Welcome to our ongoing astrology course. I think this is lesson number 8.
Yes.
And today, we'll start with predictions. Prediction, I think we've already done longevity, and we'll start with marriage.
Mhm.
Okay, marriage, and we'll discuss what, first of all, rules for marriage are in KP,
Sir.
and then discuss cases,
Mhm.
cases that I have with me as
Mhm.
we go along. And then now, likewise, after marriage, we'll pick up different topics and
Yes, sir.
as we go along. So, without wasting time, I'm going to start share. Uh, so here we go. Just let me know when it comes.
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah, it comes up, sir.
It's coming. Okay, it's come. So, see, this is rules for marriage and married life in KP. Okay.
Mhm.
So in KP, the following rules / combinations are followed for predicting marriage or analyzing married life.
Mhm.
Number one, if the sublord of the seventh cusp signifies the seventh, second, fifth, eighth, and or 11th, marriage is promised.
No problem.
Okay. If the seventh cuspal sublord is connected with second, fifth, eighth, and or 11th, then marriage is promised. Okay. Main houses, however, are 2, 7, and 11. And out of the main houses, the marriage house is the seventh house. Okay. The actual house is seventh house.
Mhm.
Number two, seventh cusp, however, is the main cusp around which marriage related matters are to be judged. Fifth cusp is to be checked or should appear in case of love marriage or affairs / involvement is to be judged
Mhm.
or is indicated. Okay. Number four, second cusp signifies addition of a family member. Seventh cusp is for actual bonding or life partner,
Mhm.
spouse. 11th cusp signifies friendship, fulfillment of wishes or desires. Eighth signifies involvement reflective of something scandalous, clandestine, secretive, etc. Now, number five, if the sublord of the seventh house signifies only the marriage negating houses, 1, 4, 6, 10, marriage may be denied. Okay. 12th is also not a good connection for marriage. Sixth is the primary negating house. Okay. Number six, if the seventh cusp sublord signifies the marriage giving houses as well as the denying houses, there may be impediments in finalization of the marriage or later on in married life. Okay. Number seven, it is observed that at times, even if the seventh sublord signifies 2 or 5 or 7 or 8 or 11 weekly and denying houses strongly or denying houses strongly, through its sublord strongly, marriage may be denied or inordinately delayed. Okay. Number 8, the role of the seventh sublord could be just restricted to giving the verdict of marriage or no marriage. The role of bringing about the actual marriage is left to the DBASP, Dasha Bhukti Antara Sukshma. Okay, that is the Dasha Lords. DBASP during their relevant periods and significations.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Number 9, it is also observed that even if the seventh sublord has given the green signal for marriage. Favorable enough DVASP periods may not come up in the marriageable age of the native, and marriage could be denied. Okay. Number 10, at times the MDL, that is the Mahadasha Lord, may not indicate any of the favorable houses, yet may allow marriage in one of the bhuktis oblique antaras if it does not signify the denying houses. Okay. However, if it vehemently denies through its sublord, the sublord of the sublord of the seventh cusp. However, if it vehemently denies through its sublord, despite giving go ahead at the stellar level, marriage may be denied during its Mahadasha period. This is one of the major causes for delayed marriages also. 11. If the sublords of all the marriage-giving houses are interconnected, marriage is quicker and smoother. Okay. Number 12, Venus is the Karaka for marriage. Okay. General significator.
Yes, sir.
Saturn's connection shows delay. Number 13, conditions for multiple marriage. Now, this is very important. Okay. Please understand this. Conditions for more than one marriage, multiple marriage or marriages. Number 1, if the sublord of the seventh cusp is Mercury, Mercury is a dual planet, is Mercury, more than one marriage is possible. Okay. Predominant connections of dual planets / houses with marriage significators indicate multiple marriages. For example, number 1, if the seventh sublord is Mercury, or number 2, the seventh sublord, be it any planet, is deposited in a dual sign, or number 3, is in the star of a planet that is deposited in a dual sign. More than one marriage is indicated. Okay. Dual signs are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces. And Mercury and Jupiter are their lords. Okay. Number 14. Significators for marriage are significators of 2, 5, 7, 8th and 11th cusps. If these significators also signify marriage negating houses, married life may not be happy or may end in separation / divorce. Same applies to the seventh sublord also. Number 15. Whenever horoscopes are presented for matching, keep predominance of the duality factor in mind. Okay. Number 16. It is needless to mention that planetary sublords play a very important role in predictions, and sublord of the cuspal sublord is also very important as well. Time of birth is of essence whenever any prediction is to be based on the cuspal sublord. Okay. Number 17, if sublord of the second cusp signifies 2, 8, 7 or 11, then second marriage is possible. If sublord of the second cusp signifies 2, 8, 7 or 11, then second marriage is possible. If it is connected only with 5 and 11, then it is not a legal marriage, but one will keep a mistress or vice versa. For a legal marriage, the involvement of the seventh house is mandatory. Okay. If the sublord of the second cusp has connections with 2, 5, 8, 11, one will have love affairs in his or her life. Okay. Connection of fifth cusp sublord with 2, 5, 7 and 11 culminates in a love marriage. Linkage of seventh cusp sublord with 2, 5, 7, 11 also leads to love marriage. If the fifth appears, then chances that, you'll marry out of your own choice. In India, you see that's what now it's become very common. But earlier, it used to be all arranged marriages. Parents of the boy and girl, they used to fix up marriages.
Yes.
So this concept of love marriage, I mean, outside India, in the Western world especially, I don't think there's any such thing as arranged marriage, as it happens in our part of the world. So there, this may not hold good at all. So fifth, here we say that whenever there's a fifth house connection, there are the chances that, the boy or the girl will marry out of their own choice. Okay. Number 21. Wherever the linkage of the fourth cusp appears with fifth, it indicates failure of the affair. Okay. It may not end in marriage. If one is having a love affair, and if the fifth cuspal sublord is connected with the fourth, that means fifth is being negated.
Oh, okay.
It may not, result in tying the bond of marriage. Okay. Number 22, simultaneous activation of 5th, 8th, and 12th houses could lead to scandalous affairs. Okay. 23, if the sublord of the first cusp, the ascendant, that is the 7th cusp of the partner. You're getting it? You're getting this point?
Yes, sir.
In any horoscope, sublord of the first cusp, that is 7th cusp of the partner, is Mercury, and as the significator of 5th and 8th, and connected with dual signs. Marriage will be with a partner who is already married. This I'll explain with an example when we come to it. Okay, this is very confusing, but I'll explain. With a partner who is already married. That is for the partner. It is a second marriage. Okay. Number 24, connection of the planet Neptune in close proximity with 7th cusp or marriage significator does not augur well. This Krishnamurti has written somewhere one line. I think he had started his research on, the other planets, Neptune, Pluto, and Uranus, etc. But he could not complete. He passed away it's quite an early age. He passed away at the age of 63. So this is somewhere he has written in one of his books. So I've just noted this down. And I see it, at times I have seen this working. Okay. Connection of the planet Neptune in close proximity with the 7th cusp or marriage significators does not augur well for the marriage. There's a general rule. Okay. So this is what we have on marriage.
Sir, close proximity between 5 degrees, right?
Sorry?
Close proximity. Does it mean 5 degree orbit?
Proximity, connection of the planet Neptune in close proximity with the 7th cusp. Yes, 7th cusp. Neptune's connection with the 7th cusp, with the 7th cuspal sublord. Okay. Yeah. Close proximity would mean 5 degrees.
Okay.
Marriage significator does not augur well for the marriage. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So these are the, some of the rules that I have, taken from various books of Krishnamurti ji and consolidated them here, So this is,
for a Muslim guy, a Muslim person, since they can marry 4 wives.
Sorry?
A Muslim man can marry 4 women.
Yeah.
Has it been proven in KP, sir?
No, what are you asking? A Muslim person marrying
4 wives, can marry 4 wives, 4 ladies.
Yeah, I mean, if that's a very interesting question. No, he has not made any research on it. But if we come across such a horoscope, I mean, these conditions should be fulfilled in anyone's marriage, for that matter. If you have multiple marriages, we can come across exam. We'll see. We'll check. If you have any horoscopes, we can check it out. But then again, see, as I go along, I'll again. My emphasis is always that in KP I rely. If I'm not sure of the time of birth, then I rely more on horary astrology in KP, and for natal predictions, I rely more on Vedic astrology. In fact, but I combine both. Okay, I combine both. I never make any predictions. Just basing my analysis on in natal charts on KP itself. I will generally see I'll analyze a chart from the Vedic as well as the KP rules. Okay. See, you will see here, nowhere is the fourth house mentioned for the purpose of marriage. Whereas if you go back to Vedic that you have studied, fourth house is an important house for marriage.
Correct.
Yeah, because it is the house of domestic peace. And here KP says that, fourth house, since it's the negating house to the fifth house, then if the fifth sublord has a connection with the fourth, then a love marriage may not take place. That's what KP says.
Yeah.
So we have to go along, whenever we are analyzing natal charts, never depend only on Krishnamurti Paddhati. Okay.
Sir.
Yeah. So you have to, while that is why I keep telling my students that, don't, these days, somehow people, you see, world over, in fact, not only in India, nobody talks about, learning Vedic astrology.
Correct. Yeah.
Every day I receive so many messages, so many requests. Sir, I want to join your KP classes. Nobody says I want to join Vedic. I want to learn Vedic. I don't know why. So, but anyway, that's it. So we'll start, you'll get a better understanding of the whole thing when we take up examples.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay. So we'll start.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here we go.
Yes, sir.
When it comes, let me know when it comes. Okay.
Yeah, it comes up, sir.
It's come.
Yep.
Okay, so this is to start with. Let's start with this denial of marriage.
Yeah.
Now this is KP versus Vedic. KP versus Vedic. Now, if you could, whenever, like, you may not be prepared right now with your, I don't know how much you remember of Vedic marriage, if you remember everything, but you will recollect. Okay. So denial of marriage, KP versus Vedic. This is the exam. This is the horoscope of a girl who was born in September 1980. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So the seventh sublord is Venus. Okay. Now I will not, since you already know, you already know astrology, you can follow these houses, which is the sublord, which is the star lord, all that, So we'll just go along. Okay. And whenever I want to go back to this, I'll show it to you. With this small cursor, can you see this moving, this small cursor?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So seventh sublord is Venus. Okay.
Yep.
You can see it. I have put a fence here on the left-hand side, seventh sublord.
It's Venus.
Cusp 7, see, the sublord is Venus. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sublord is Venus. Venus signifies 6th, 7th, 10th very strongly. Very strongly, and 11th somewhat strongly at the stellar level.
Yeah.
When we say the stellar level, that means through its star lord. Okay, you can see this. You can see this table and see how Venus is signifying the sixth. I've put fences around, you know. The sixth house, Venus is there. Seventh house, Venus is there. Okay. Then 10th house, Venus is there. Okay. And 11th, somewhat, because it is the fourth level. Okay. It is the third level significator. And 11th, so at the stage, while 7th and 11th promise marriage. Okay. While 7th and 11th houses, they promise marriage. 6th and 10th deny the same very strongly. Okay. In this chart. Because why? 6th, Venus is the strongest significator, the only significator. 10th, it is the A-level significator. 7th also, it is the A-level significator, but it is a very strong significator of the 6th house and the 10th house. Okay. Both are marriage denying houses. Okay. 6th is the main denying house. Okay. So while 7th and 11th promise marriage, 6th and 10th deny the same very strongly. Now look at the sublord. Now, Peter, I'll tell you one thing. The sublord of the sublord. Sublord of the sublord. No KP teacher will teach you. Because either they find it too confusing or they just try and avoid it. You will not find it in books also. I'll tell you the books where you'll find this. I'll tell you the books also where you'll find this. But now coming to the sublord of Venus, that is the sublord of the 7th sublord. The sublord of Venus is Mercury. There you can see from the top chart. Sublord of Venus, that is sublord of 7th is Venus, and the sublord of Venus is Mercury. Okay. Now the sublord of Venus is Mercury, which signifies 12th house very strongly. Okay. 10th at the B level and D level. All these significations are not supportive of marriage. Okay. See, for marriage to take place, the sublord of the 7th cusp has to signify at the same time the sublord of the 7th cusp should also be supporting the marriage. There are examples where the 7th sublord gives a green signal for marriage, but the sublord of the sublord is denying it and marriage has not taken place. Okay. Venus is also now, look, now another, let us understand something very important. Venus is also the untenanted cuspal sublord of 1st, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 12th. Hence signifying all these houses very strongly. You know what an untenanted planet is?
It's not in the star lord.
Yeah, there are no planets in its stars. Okay. There are no planets in its stars. Okay. So Venus is also the untenanted cuspal sublord of 1st, 5th, 6th, 7th, 12th, hence signifies all these houses very strongly. 1st, 6th, 12th are not supportive, while 7th is supportive. It is my experience that when 7th sublord, something very important, it is my experience that when 7th sublord signifies marriage, marriage giving houses, but at the same time also signifies marriage negating houses, especially the 6th house, very strongly, marriage is either delayed / denied, or if it takes place, is bound to be unsuccessful. This girl is 40. Now this 19, now she is 43. Okay. When I prepared this, she was 40. This girl is 40 and remains unmarried. The aspect of 7th, Saturn on the 7th house also does not help, as Saturn is the planet for delay or denial. Okay. Now, In red, I have written, it is also our experience that in the case of delay / denial of marriage, the principles of Vedic astrology. I told you, you should mix both and see. The principles of Vedic astrology are found to be very accurate. Before giving a verdict through KP, it is always advisable to scrutinize the chart through Vedic rules also. Now, when people, when students are learning only KP, then I am not able to explain to them. But here, since you've already done Vedic, now see the same chart is analyzed. This I must have done with you in my Vedic course also, but we'll do it again.
Yes, sir.
So this is the North Indian style of the chart. Okay. The chart is given. On the left is the Rashi chart for analysis through Vedic. Same chart.
Yes, sir.
On the left is the prime determinant for marriage. Now you'll recall the language also. Okay. The prime determinant for marriage in this horoscope is moon. Is moon as the lord of the 8th house. Okay. It has gone to the 12th house. It has gone to the 12th house in debilitation and old age, thus making it extremely weak. If the prime determinant for marriage becomes extremely weak and is also debilitated, marriage is delayed / mostly denied, or could result in early death of the spouse if it is forced to materialize, okay, without resorting to remedial measures. This is one of the rules of Vedic astrology. Moon for Sagittarius is also the MMP, the most malefic planet. It is also afflicted by the aspect of Rahu. Okay. Saturn is combust. And its aspect to the 7th has not helped either. Okay. Jupiter, the Karaka for husband in a female horoscope, is in old age and is further weakened by the extreme infancy of its dispositor. Venus, the general significator for marriage, has gone to the Dusht Sthana, that is the 8th house. Navansha. Okay. In the Navamsha, Mars as ascendant lord becomes another additional determinant for marriage, but is weakened by going to the 12th house. Moon, the prime marriage determinant of the main chart, is further weakened in Navamsha by sitting in the 12th house. This chart, by Vedic rules, was a non-starter for marriage. See, now this is how I combine, both Vedic and KP when I give any verdict based on a natal chart.
Sir, can we come back to the untenanted planet a little bit?
Untenanted planet, okay. See, untenanted planet means, see, 1 minute.
First cup.
Always, now this is the old true astrology horoscope. Now, this the new software that he's giving, it may be in yours. There'll be an asterisk in front of untenanted planet. But anyway, untenanted planets, you look at this chart, this top chart here, okay? And you look at the star lord column. Any planet that does not appear here in the star lord column is untenanted. That means there's no planet. And if an untenanted planet becomes the sublord, the cuspal sublord of any house,
of the first, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 12th, how it's supposed to be in the house-wide significator table. I'm not sure why Venus is untenanted of the 1st, 5th, 6th. How it becomes.
Can you speak a bit louder?
Yeah. I just wonder, okay, I know that Venus is untenanted, but how does it become untenanted of 1st, 5th, 6th?
That's a rule in KP.
Yeah.
That you will not find in this significator chart.
Okay.
That's a rule in KP. If an untenanted planet becomes sublord of any cusp, it becomes a very strong significator of a cusp. Like any of these planets, whether it appears as a significator in this table or not, in the significator, it becomes a very strong significator of that cusp or house. Let's call it a house. Okay. So here, Venus, by virtue of being an untenanted planet. Okay. Now see now, I'll get another cursor. 1 minute.
I just wonder.
One second. Just let me change the cursor. I'll show you. Okay, now see. Now see. Now, I'll explain to you.
Yep.
Venus is untenanted. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, I know.
Does Venus appear as a significator of the first house in this table?
No,
it does not. But here Venus is the cuspal sublord of the first house.
Correct. Yeah.
So it becomes a very strong significator of the first house.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Likewise, does Venus appear here as a significator of the fifth house?
No,
in this table, it does not.
Yeah.
But since it is the cuspal sublord of the fifth house and untenanted at the same time, so it becomes a very strong significator of the fifth house also. Okay. Sixth house doesn't matter. It's already here. So it's here. So first and fifth, Venus becomes a very strong significator. So the seventh cuspal sublord is also becoming a significator of the first house and the 12th house also. So this cuspal sublord of the seventh cusp is also a strong significator of marriage denying houses. First is also a marriage denying house. Okay.
Yes, correct.
It is the ascendant, but it is a denying house for the purpose of marriage, not a supporting house. Let's put it that way. And it also becomes a significator of the 12th house as it is the untenanted cuspal sublord of the 12th house. So, you know, Venus during its, as a planet, has significations of all, these are stellar level significations.
Correct. Yep.
And Venus also has, now it becomes, additionally it becomes a significator of all these houses of who it is the cuspal sublord. Why becomes? Because it is untenanted.
Okay.
Had it been tenanted, then it would not have been a significant. Then it would have been a significator of only the houses that, you know, that it appears as a significator in this table.
Because I can see that Venus is untenanted in the sixth house, but not in the first and fifth. But once we connect it, or the chart.
Now, let me tell you. See, now always remember that an untenanted planet becoming an untenanted planet, becoming the sublord of any house, becomes a very strong significator. Okay. Like for example, here Venus at the stellar level is a significator of both the sixth as well as the seventh.
Correct.
So it should allow marriage. But then, since it is also the untenanted cuspal sublord of the sixth house, it becomes very, very powerful. You know, as a negating planet, it becomes very, very powerful. So therefore, you know, marriage is, besides other factors also, it denied marriage. And then always, I said, always look at the Vedic chart also before giving a verdict.
Yep.
See, Krishnamurti Paddhati, I told you I rely on Krishnamurti Paddhati more in horary astrology, more for horary astrology.
Yes, sir.
Natal I rely on, okay? I rely, natal I mix both.
Uh-huh.
I mix both,
Yes, sir.
okay?
Yep. Mhm.
So is this clear?
Yeah. So
Of course,
okay.
you'll have to practice it, you'll
Yeah.
have to practice it.
So
So now you'll get a, whatever questions you've asked me, if you study this chart,
mhm,
this is quite a, from in the KP, it's quite a complicated chart.
mhm.
K. Krishnamurti ji wrote so many things, and he is not there now, Krishnamurti ji. But then later on, so many researchers,
Mhm.
all this is my own analysis. You will not find it,
Yeah.
such an analysis you will not. When we started KP, we used to give all wrong predictions.
Okay.
Because you see, 2, 7, 11, oh, okay, the sublord is signifying, yes, marriage will take place.
Mhm.
This is how, we used to go about it.
Yes, sir.
At that time, I didn't know Vedic very well.
Yes,
I
sir.
was, when I started off new, till I came across with the systems approach that I studied.
Yes, sir.
I had told that I had almost stopped studying Vedic
Yeah.
until I stumbled across, the systems approach by Professor Chaudhary.
Uh-huh.
So that I did. And then later on, I found that combining that with KP
Mhm.
becomes very helpful.
Yep.
So as we go along, the marriage it's a long chapter. I think our marriage spread over 3 or 4 classes.
Yep.
Okay.
So can I conclude this? The untenanted Caspar subplot can be seen from both how wide significator tables and Caspar position chart. We can mix it all together.
Yeah, you can prepare a separate column, for your own notes. It is not given here. Actually, there should be an additional separate column for, untenanted cuspal sublots becoming significator of houses.
Oh yeah.
That should be there. If it's there, there'll be more clarity.
Yeah.
I suppose, I'll amend my notes now, because these notes I prepared long back now. So
Yeah. Mhm.
there's a lot of,
It's
there's
really
a lot
good
of
notes, sir.
hard
Really
work
good
involved
note.
in, in writing these notes and preparing these write-ups. Very tough. It's almost
very
a
good
book
note
that
indeed.
it's almost a book that I have written.
Correct.
If you take out all my write-ups, and it'll become a book.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's really a good note, sir.
Yeah, but that is for my students to decide. Okay. So okay, we'll take up something else now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see now one case of. So this is, this is a case of horary. I've taken up some number and horary astrology. What was the question? Marriage. See, here is the question at the top. Marriage when? Horary.
Yes, sir.
Question by Sulekha Vashisht. Number given was 165 out of 249.
Yes, sir.
124 for 2004 at Port Blair. I was posted. I was working that time. So
Yes,
Port
sir.
Blair. So this chart was prepared there. Okay. So here's the chart for you, and this is now the analysis. You take a photograph of this.
Yes, sir.
Take a photograph of this
Yep.
in your mobile and keep it there with you, so that as we go along, as I discuss the write-up, you can follow it. Because otherwise, we'll have to keep coming back to, the chart.
Yep.
Okay, so okay, now how to judge a horary question? Okay, step 1. This I have already done in my notes with you, but still I am revising that also.
Yes, sir.
Check whether any of the significator planets are either retrograde or sitting in the stars of planets that are retrograde. Okay. Step 1. First we'll do the reading, then you, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Retrograde significators will not give results till they revert back to direct motion. And if any significator planet is sitting in the star of a retro planet, it will not give results at all. So reject them. Okay. Okay, where are we? And now will not. So reject them. If not, so reject them. Okay. Check if there are any untenanted planets. Check whether there are any untenanted planets, and if yes, whether they are sublords of any of the cusps. Make a note of it.
Yep.
Whether they are sublords of any of the cusps, as they will become strong significators of these cusps. In this chart, Saturn, Jupiter, Sun are untenanted. Now you can look at the, see?
Yep.
So in this chart, Saturn, Jupiter, Sun are untenanted, whereas Mercury is in its own star.
Yep.
Mercury is in its own star. Jupiter is the cuspal sublord of the first and third cusps. So Jupiter becomes a significator of the first and third. Hence signifies both very strongly. Okay. Keep a check on whether any such cusps matter in your analysis. Okay. Number 2, in the instant case, Jupiter, one of the significators, is retrograde and will not yield fruitful result till it reverts back to direct motion. That is on 6/5/2004. For that, when you're doing the analysis, you have to see the ephemeris.
Yeah.
Okay. Till 6/5, I think whenever I judge this chart, Jupiter was in retrograde motion and it was coming back to its direct motion on 6/5/2004. Number 3, none of the significators are placed in stars of retrograde planets. These are notes, okay? We are doing a horary analysis, okay? Number 4, you must note down the ruling planets for the time of judgment.
Okay.
As they may be required. As they may be required at any time. It is not mandatory to use them, but they may be required. So just make a note of them.
Yes, sir.
Now, number 5, when the question was asked, the Mahadasha of Mars was running and was to run up to 6/10/2006. Mars signifies 7th very strongly at the stellar level. Okay, that is 2679 through it. When the Mars, 1 minute. When the question was asked, the Mahadasha of Mars running stellar level through its sublord Jupiter. So it signifies marriage giving houses. Hence selected. Now we are selecting the fruitful significators. Hence selected. Number 6, when the question was asked, Mars oblique Ketu was on and would run up to 38/2004.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ketu signifies 5th, 11th at the stellar level through its sublord Sun, 11th, and through Venus. As it is in Libra, it represents Venus. It signifies 7th, hence selected. So we have selected Mars and Ketu as fruitful significators. Yes, okay. So, number 7, the Antara or Pratyantar of Jupiter was chosen as Jupiter is the sole significator of the second in the chart, and its participation was mandatory because second also has to appear. There has to be a significator of the second house for marriage to take place. And Jupiter is the only significator of the second house. So it was chosen. The Antara, the Antara or Pratyantara of Jupiter was chosen as we are timing marriage. Okay. We are timing marriage. So we have to select Mahadasha Lord, Antadasha Lord, and Pratyantar Dasha Lord. A fruitful Pratyantar Dasha Lord was chosen as Jupiter is the sole significator of the second. Now we have got significators of the 7th and 11th, Mars, and we have chosen both. We have selected 2. Now we need a significator of the second house. Significator of the second house, if you see that table, it's in front of you.
Yep.
Jupiter is the sole significator, so it has to be chosen.
Yep. Okay.
Marriage will be, marriage will take place when Jupiter also appears as a Dasha Lord, one of the Dasha Lords, and a significator. So Jupiter's significations are already discussed above in 0.5 above. Okay. Please note the sublord of fifth cusp Venus is a strong significator of seventh. You see that? Hence, love marriage is indicated.
Okay.
You will see that you have taken a photograph.
Yep.
Number 9, Mars oblique Ketu oblique Jupiter was to run up to 16/7/2004. So marriage had to take place by this date because the significators are coinciding with this period.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Number 10. Now we already have the significators of 2/7/11 in Mars, Ketu, and Jupiter, but the exact date has to be predicted. You see how KP already becomes interesting.
Yes, sir.
But the exact date has to be predicted by identifying the Sukshma and the Prana Dashas. Okay, we are timing marriage. Marriage that we have, broadened that, shortened it, that period we know. Marriage will take place by, within this dasha period.
Yeah.
But we are timing the marriage. So we have to choose the Sukshma Dasha also. Now we already have, okay. In the Antara of Jupiter, a number of planets appear as marriage significators. One second, let me go back. See, in the 1 minute. What I am trying to explain here is we have all these dasha periods, we have chosen. So we have chosen Mars, this chart, besides this red thing, okay? We have identified Mars, Ketu, and Jupiter. Can you see?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yes.
in the Antara of Jupiter, there is, let's see the Antara of Jupiter. The Sukshma of so many planets. This chart, with this second chart here, just beside this chart, the 1, 2, 3 from the top. Okay.
Yep.
There are Mars, Ketu, and Jupiter. But in Jupiter Antara, there are, there is the Sukshma of Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury, Ketu, Venus,
Sun.
There's so many planets. So now we have to choose. We are timing marriage. So how do we go about choosing this? That is why I came back to this. Okay.
Yes,
Now, wait. So where were we? So in the number 11, in the Antara of Jupiter, a number of planets appear as marriage significators, namely Jupiter, Mars, Moon, Venus, Sun, Ketu, Saturn, all of them. 7 out of 9 planets appear as A-level significators. And all of them are capable of giving marriage in their Sukshma Dasha. So what do we do? How do we select? What will we do? You tell me.
We have to look at
the
planet.
We have to look at the ruling planets for timing an event.
Yep.
Or 7 out of 9 planets can give marriage. So we have to eliminate, so many of them. We have to reject. So here is where the role of ruling planets comes in.
Yep.
KP.
Yep.
Okay. Now here is where is the divine help of number 12. Here is where the divine help of ruling planets comes to our aid in order to help us to eliminate the so-called tempters. Krishnamurti ji used to call them tempters. Okay. So from the list of RPs, we pick out the strongest RP, which is also a significator. Okay. The strongest RP is Saturn. The strongest RP is Saturn, which strongly signifies the 7th house at the A level. So the Sukshma of Saturn in Jupiter Antardasha is chosen, is fixed, and it is to run up to 2/7/2004. Saturn signifies 7, 5, 3, 5, and 11. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now we have to fix up the Prandasha for pinpointing the date. We have to fix up the Prandasha, which would be the second strongest RP. First, the strongest we have already chosen. If it is a RP, second strongest RP, okay, moon is found as the second strongest RP and is also a strong significator of the seventh house.
Mhm.
So moon pranadasha is to run from 11:43 a.m. to 18:01 p.m. on 1/7/2004. This was the day predicted for marriage, and it happened on that day.
Okay, I see.
Okay, transit on the day of the event was Sun in Rahu, Mars star, Moon in Mars Rashi, Mars in Saturn star, Ketu in Rahu star, Saturn in Jupiter star, Venus in Moon star. You don't need to go up to the transit, but you can. So this is how, horary KP is interesting. This is how we predict in horary. Okay.
Just one question.
Yeah.
So when you do the timing, you mostly use KP, not
Sorry.
Vedic.
Sorry.
When you do most of the timing cases, timing of any events, you use mostly KP, not the Vedics, right?
Vedic, you can do it, but it's very difficult. That is why, see, I had told you that, when it comes to timing, we'll do it in KP. Vedic,
Okay.
it is very difficult. You can do it. If you read the books of Professor Chaudhary, he says we can time it, but then and you can do it, but it's quite difficult.
Yeah, I see.
Okay.
Yep.
KP, you can definitely do it in natal charts also, provided the time of birth is correct. You can use this, what the formula that we have used
Yeah.
in natal also.
Yep.
The timing has to be dot on, which is, it is difficult in most of the cases. Timing is out, and if the timing is out by 2 to 8 minutes, all the sublots will change.
Okay. Yeah, I see. Yep.
And KP is just based on sublots.
Yes, sir. I see.
So earlier, when one learned KP, then okay, we see seven sublot. Seven sublot is not signifying marriage giving houses, so no marriage will take place. No, that's not the way to go about it. Now I'll see why Vedic is required. You must always have the Vedic chart also with you, because time of birth could be wrong. And if the time of birth is out by even 4-5 minutes, then the seventh sublot could just change.
Yeah.
And it could be signifying the marriage denying houses.
Oh, yeah.
So you just can't tell the client that marriage will not take place. So for that, but then you have to know your Vedic astrology also.
Okay. Yeah.
And if Vedic astrology, you see promise of marriage is there, then you can correct the KP chart also. Time of birth also you can correct. You can see, which sublord was preceding the existing sublord of the seventh house and which was coming after. So you can adjust the timing also. You'll see that everything falls into place.
Yeah.
That is one way of doing birth time rectification in KP by the help of Vedic astrology.
Yep. Very complicated.
Yeah, but then once you follow it, and that is why, if you remember earlier, I had told you that you must learn Vedic first.
Yeah, agree. Yeah.
If you don't know Vedic, then you see people are just adamant. They say, no, we want to just learn KP.
No. My experience, I found, a lot of KP topics are based on Vedic. So you need to know Vedic. You
have to know Vedic.
Yeah,
okay.
As a foundation.
Yeah. So I won't go any further today. Okay.
Yeah, correct. Yes.
1 hour is over. I will not go back. I want to. You see, KP. Once these concepts, like the concept of untenanted sublot was clear to you today.
Yep.
So you listen to this recording again. You already have all my write-ups.
Yep.
And one thing, don't jump the gun in KP. If you jump the gun in KP, if you start asking, that is why I didn't answer your questions. That is why I said, we'll clarify as we go along. Your question regarding, why we are not selecting this significator,
Mhm.
why we have selected only this significator.
Yeah.
As we go along, all your queries will be clarified.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we'll leave it at that
Yes,
today.
sir.
Okay, Peter.
See you on Friday, sir.
See you. See you.
Yeah. Bye bye, sir. Namaste.
Bye. 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 Namaste. Namaste. So I'm stopping the recording. Okay.
Yes, sir.
No.